I'm having a panic attack. This is probably the most I've ever craved a cigarette since I quit. Besides, like the first few days, my heart is beating out of my chest. And it's one of those situations. This happens sometimes where I get a little bit manic because I come up with a plan or I come across new information or a new opportunity. And I don't know exactly why, but for some reason, I get really bent out of shape. But the problem is that usually in the past, how this would work is I would get to a point where I get a piece of information and then I would I don't know, be like, oh, if I can do this, then this. I understand something conceptually, and I realize, oh, becoming rich is simple, and I'm gonna be rich, or making money is simple, and I'm gonna be that. The problem is, in this particular situation, is that it's happening at a very rapid pace over and over and over again. And it's like it's it's all the stuff that people talk about all the time in terms of like, you start vibrating at a higher frequency, you stop doing things that are detrimental to your frequency and mess with you, and you see different things, literally. It's very magical, it's very scary and very freaky. But when you're not doing well spiritually, you could be sitting on a pot of gold and you would still be upset and you wouldn't be able to see it. But when you're vibrating at a high frequency and you're doing well spiritually, basically everywhere you look, you see opportunities. Everywhere you look, you see blessings. Everywhere you look, you see greatness, blessings, luck. And it's one thing to understand it conceptually, because I think I pretty much knew that when I was very young, at 16. It's like, well, if you focus on positive things, then you will be looking out for more positive things. You will notice more positive things. You'll be thinking more positively, so your actions will be more positive, so that your interactions will be more positive, so that you will unlock more possibilities. And then when you get those possibilities, you'll be able to multiply those possibilities. And then there you go. Right? So you can understand that conceptually. But like anything, I feel like it's like a muscle that you have to work out, because there's constant there's a reason why people don't do it. There's a reason why people don't believe it. People try it and they fail. And I know for me, when I had a few big breakthroughs, and at some point I realized that it's not what I had a big breakthrough. One of my more recent big breakthroughs. Um, you know, Obviously I had all my prior knowledge and I applied all that seeking and knowledge to what I had learned in therapy, right? I learned something in therapy. I used it. I practiced, and then there was there's constant pressure coming from the world to doubt yourself, to reverse course, to discourage you from doing what you believe is correct or what is correct. And that's in the form of, that's the devil, to keep it very simple. The devil, the enemy, the world, your haters, they don't want you to know the truth, because the truth does not hurt. They don't want you to know about what you can accomplish. They don't want you to believe in yourself. They don't, and it's not even believing. It's not really faith. It's a knowing. It's knowing who you are. It's knowing, like, it's simple. It says it in the Bible. It's like, if you know the word, if you're armed with the word, if you know verses to quote verbatim from memory, and scripture. There's scriptures in there that you will be able to whip out at any point to combat and shoot down any attempt from the enemy to harm you. Similar to how, if you're being harassed by a police officer and you've done nothing wrong, how you can whip out laws to stop them from bothering you legally. They don't have the right to do so. It's the same thing with the enemy. And it is a knowing. It's the truth. The truth is that you are perfect, that you were made in the image of God, that you have the mind of Jesus. That's simple. That's scripture. That's Bible. So you are perfect, and you are made perfect you could be made perfect over again if you were imperfect. So there you go. That's the truth. And guess what? The only reason why any suffering ever occurs, ever, is because of sin, which you don't have anymore, because you're perfect and you've been made new. And therefore, happiness is yours constantly. There's no hoops to jump through. There's no work to be done. There's no battle to be fought. None of that. It's literally just knowing that piece of information, and knowing that piece of information, and well, doing the right things. Obviously, it's not a reason to hurt anyone or anything like that. And like I said, you're perfect, so why would you want to do those things anyway? You might be tempted to do them, but they won't lead you anywhere positive, because again, they're sin. So doing the sin is going to block you from happiness. So why would you do them? It's very simple. It's very, very simple. So point being is that, and that's making it spiritual, that's making it about Christianity, but at the end of the day, it applies to literally everything. I'm Christian, I believe that for 100%. But even just scientifically, I'm not trying to take God out of it, but scientifically, it's also the case. It's scientifically proven that if you think positively, your brain changes. Your brain changes for the positive. It changes your gene expression. Your gene expression, or changes your emotions. Your emotions are what changes your gene expression. It's your mind. It's your free will that decides that you're going to be doing good positive things, and then that changes your gene expression, changes your mind, changes your body, changes the actual way that you interact with the world that you interact with. Therefore, you change the world for a positive, and on a quantum level, on an atomic level. So that means that the air moves different around you. That means that light bends differently around you, and you're literally changing the shape or form of your existence. So therefore, at that point, if you're vibrating on a higher plane, or on a fucking higher frequency or whatever, you're going to attract things that resonate with that frequency. That's basic science that I learned a long time ago. That's what the secret is. That's how you manifest things. So what do they tell you to do? They tell you to feel good. They tell you to think positively. They tell you to act as if you're already there. Why? Because that would make it to where, basically, in a way, you're remembering your future. You are remembering what you need to know, which is that you are perfect and that happiness is yours and it's your birthright. And there you go. Also, and to go along with that, immortality is your birthright as well. Overcoming death, that is also your birthright. So therefore, what does that mean? That means that you have no reason to worry. You're literally living in the Garden of Eden, and anything you want, you can have. And you can literally have it by just saying it. It also says that in the Bible. If you say, "Ask and you shall receive, knock and you shall find." If you had the faith size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. Boom. And then any motivational speaker will tell you the same thing. It's if you believe it, you can achieve it. That's the situation. So, boom. Now what? All those things are true. So anybody that tells you the opposite, anyone that makes you feel the opposite, there's a couple different things. Either they're just vibrating on a low frequency and they're causing static in your situation. That's the way to look at it. Or they're being fucking demonically possessed. That's another look at it. Being used by the devil. That's another way to look at it. It's really not that complicated. You don't need to overcomplicate the situation. It's actually that simple. So you realize what you need to do, right? And you do the positive things, and it's hard for me, and this is the reason why people don't do it. The world is a difficult place. It can be a difficult place, but there's a reason why people don't do it, and it's because you encounter obstacles along the way. Because I say that you're perfect, but you know how they say nobody's perfect. Well, your actions determine that. Again, sin. So sin is hurting yourself. Sin is doing anything. It's negative thinking. It's worrying. It's harming others. Because guess what? If that's going on, the frequency around is going to be negative. Point blank period. And guess what? The more that you, and again, like removing the whole, like biblical parts of it. The more that you do, low vibrational shit, basically, the more it's like it's training you to vibrate on that frequency. So the more you stoop down to other people's levels, and you steal or you lie or you whatever, the more used to it you're going to be, and that's your default mode of behaving, and that's going to lead to more and more negative shit. It's a feedback loop, just like I kind of was talking about before, the positive feedback loop. So basically, you continue to do those positive things over and over and over and over and over again. You see more and more and more and more opportunity, and guess what? Those things are always been there. It feels like fucking magic. It feels like something supernatural, and it's hard to explain in terms of logical, scientific, material reality based things, facts. It's very hard to describe. And guess what? Another thing too is you'll notice if you try to communicate it to someone, depending on where they're at in their life, people say that. Like I heard someone say the other day, they said, don't try to wake someone up before their alarm clock. And it's impossible. So literally, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And that's all that's going to do is frustrate you. It's harder to lift someone up than it is to pull someone down. Gravity. So, and I've had experiences where it's like I want someone to see what I see. I want someone to experience what I've experienced. I want people to know what I know. And it makes me emotional thinking about the fact that it's literally impossible. So for me to be able to evolve and to move on, get past certain things, guess what I have to do? I have to leave people behind. Because all they're going to do at the end of the day is, we're going to have to resonate. What are we going to do? Meet in the middle somewhere? Like a binaural beat? So I'm lifting up and I'm being pulled down. I can't get to where I want to get to if I'm participating in that nonsense. So, literally, people walk around this earth, and the thing is, it's crazy. It's literally insane. When you're not there, when you're not at that frequency, when you're not at that level, you can hear it. Maybe you can kind of understand it, and you can kind of apply it, but it will never make sense. It's literally like talking to someone on a radio. and I say something to that person, right? And I'm coming from a very high place, and I'm saying it to someone who's depressed or whatever. Maybe it feels good to them, and they know to some extent that it's true, and they want more, but they can't. They can't process it the same way because there's interference. You know, it's like static. It's like when you hear it, it's like, oh, that song is good, basically, and then he's like, shh, 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 in and out, in and out, in and out. That's basically how it is. Someone can tell you the same thing over and over and over again. You could be hearing the same thing over and over again from different sources, and then one day it finally clicks. The stars align and everything fucking clicks. And you can and some people, I mean, you can look at, if you don't resonate with somebody, right? You could look down on somebody that's doing better than you in every way, shape, and form. They're doing so much better than you that it irritates you. Like, not just like being a hater and being jealous and all this other stuff. Like, literally, someone who's like on a health kick or whatever, right? And they're like, and it's like, yeah, that's annoying to you. You're not really jealous of the person. You're just like, oh my god, that's so cheesy, or whatever. That's the easy way of saying, the easy way of addressing that particular thing. Like that's how you write it off as nonsense. Meanwhile, you are like, you're deceiving yourself, basically, if you believe that type of stuff. So anyway, what's happening now is because, you know, I decided, because over the course of many years, I have gathered different practices of different types, whether it be meditation, reading books, not playing video games, etc., 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 taking vitamins, and blah, 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 blah. Over the course of my life, I have been trying to. I've had moments where I've like, okay, I'm going to journal every day for this amount of time, and I feel like if I journal for this amount of time, I'm going to get to this place in my life. And I've done enough personal testing to be like, okay, journaling is a positive for me. There is a correlation between me journaling. I don't know if it's causation or if it's a correlation, but there's a correlation between me journaling and me having like a healthy, productive life, period of my life, right? Then there's like let's just say not watching porn or whatever, or self pleasure, and progress. There's a correlation there. Is it causation? No, but there's a few things that there's so many different things that correlate, right? Whether it be like vitamins, working out, journaling, that, like posting on YouTube. I don't know if I said meditation, but those things, they all correlate with positive outcomes. And then there's things that they may correlate, but I don't think there's any causation, like alcohol, cigarettes, sugar, weed, right? These are things that maybe they feel good, but they don't cause progress. And that is more of like just, I don't want to say common sense, but it's like you just look at other people, right? Other people, what they do that are successful. You know, you can drink, but is it actually helping you? Right? If it's helping you to feel better, that's good. So that's a tough thing for people to kind of deal with. I have drank to enjoy myself. I've played video games to enjoy myself, and you know that's all fine and dandy. I smoke cigarettes to enjoy myself, and that's all fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, is the juice worth the squeeze? And with those particular things, I've just, based off of what other people say, I've just decided that's probably not a good idea. There's downsides that I'm not willing to accept. Some of the worst things that have ever happened in my life have been as a result of being drunk. I broke my foot. I got in accidents. I got in fights. I got in arguments. All while I'm drunk. Does not happen when I'm sober. Sugar causes me to break out on my skin. Feel me? Weed causes me to. Weed's kind of special. It causes me to want to be antisocial and basically waste time. It allows me to do anything, including nothing, and be chilling and be happy. And then, it becomes part of your routine. And yeah. So if you're not, yeah. All of them actually can become habits. Anything can become a habit. So I haven't been doing those things. And what's happening to me right now is that my to-do list is growing exponentially because there's so many opportunities that at this point I understand there is really no way that I could take advantage of every opportunity. And the thing is that when you're down, everything seems so difficult. Everything seems so impossible. And then I'm at the point right now where it's like I could literally have absolutely nothing. I've experienced this at varying levels, like when I realized, like, okay, in San Francisco, if I go to San Francisco, I could literally make something out of nothing really quickly, and it wouldn't be difficult, it wouldn't be hard. So I'll never have to do anything. I don't have to do shit. I can go over there on my ass with nothing. Meaning, like, all I need is a plane ticket to go over there, and I'll be straight. I can restart, for survival purposes. Whereas in the past, that was an issue. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't even, I think about, like, the people that I'm dealing with, like, my parents who made my life difficult or whatever. It's like, look, the reason why everywhere that I've left, I had to leave because of a resonance issue. It's impossible. Okay, how does it go? Rejection is God's protection. Meaning every relationship that seemingly hurt me because I wanted to be with this person, it would have worked out if it was meant to work out. It's actually that simple. So, when things went bad, they had to go bad. When things went good, they had to go good. Because literally, where I'm going is where I'm going. And I set that in motion when I was 16 years old, and I made a decision about who I wanted to be. And then I've refined that over time about who I wanted to be and where I was going in life. And then with that decision, with me remembering that future and knowing that it is coming and that it is an inevitability, increasingly, more and more increasingly, with more and more knowledge over the course of my life, doing research, knowing like, okay, I see this opportunity. I know that this is possible. I know I can make this money this quickly. I know I could do this quickly. I know that I could always do this eventually. And then knowing even that for me to actually get right and actually do things, when I was drinking a whole lot, it's like the first thing I need to do is I need to get to the point where I have myself under control in some type of discipline, meaning, and trying and failing, meaning I have a routine, meaning that I'm not tempted to do certain things, meaning that I'm not, so basically I had to get the shit out of my system. I had to get the shit out of my system of, craving, doing drugs or doing anything. All that shit had to be done. You know what I'm saying? And it's fine. Life was never difficult. It never was. Literally. Like, there was times in my life where I was down and struggling, and things were out of place and chaotic. And that is what, that's my choice. That's my free will to do those things. Right? And I've had that experience, and I'm not necessarily proud of that. Because there was a time where I, like, people that I know, they don't have to worry about a place to stay. They don't have to worry about, a certain, about basic things, whereas I had to. I put myself through things that I didn't necessarily have to put myself through. But it's over now. And I always knew, first of all, that God loves me, that there is a purpose and an intention on my life, that I have a hunch on what it is. I have hints, I have ideas, I thought about what it is. I thought about what I would like to do with my life. And I was in the phase of my life where, well, I'm figuring things out. Finding out information and being a wild person, enjoying my life. The only way I know how. Following hints, learning about opportunities. And now I'm at the point where it all leads to this moment. It all leads to this point in time where if I won't have the issue of, oh, let's say I got bank around 21 and hadn't gotten those things out of my system or that experience about those things, and then fuck it all up. I got it out of the way early. I took my licks early. And again, it's not if you don't know, you don't know. And the only way to know is to find out. And the only way to find out is to fuck around. And like I said, you can't never wake somebody up before their alarm clock. You know what I'm saying? Some people are born into situations, and I didn't want luck. I wanted to know. I wanted to figure it out. Meaning, and that's what I have. Meaning that it's not a fluke. Anytime that I do, like, I didn't want to get lucky, like win the lottery. I want to understand how this shit works, so I could teach someone how it works. I remember talking to my mom about that, being like, I want like the master key. I want to figure out. I want it to be replicable. You know. So if I hit the lottery, or if I and the only way to get there is by trial and error, basically. So it's like conceptually, I knew, or well, even then, I had to figure out certain things. Like I knew that they teach you certain things in school, right? Like energy can't be created or destroyed, and there's a lot of truth in everything. There's a lot of truth in science. There's a lot of truth in whatever, and a lot of things can get flipped on its head and be stupid. Like there's a lot of good things that parents teach you, and there's a lot of things in the Bible that could be misconstrued and flipped and used in a negative way, and there's things in in science that could be flipped and used in a negative way, and you have to have discernment about those things, and you have to learn more about the nature of the universe and the nature of God and the nature of people. And over the course of that time of thinking of those things and testing those things against your reality, then you come to realize you after testing, then you do something, and you know what the result is going to be, because it's always the result. That's the scientific method, basically. You're using the scientific method on your life. When I do X, Y happens. So, and being a psychology major, which is technically a scientist, I'm testing on myself. I'm my own case study. I've known that since I started studying. I'm my own case study. I'm trying stuff on myself to see whether or not it works. And obviously I have a limited amount of time, and there's a decent amount of variables. There's ages, there's age, there's a lot of variables, and it's not a perfect scientific method. But at the end of the day, you figure out and you know what you know, and it's like, I know I can do this and X is going to happen. I know if I do this, Y is going to happen. I know if I do this, this is going to happen. Why? Because I've done it enough times to know that it's going to work. And guess what? Sometimes for it to work that way, you have to have the confidence. You have to have the faith, the belief, the know that it's going to happen. So if you let's say I tell you, because I know that this is going to happen. I say, if you invest in Bitcoin right now and hold for a year, it's going to be this amount. I know that for a fact. You believe me, mostly. You do it. We both do it. But you get chicken shit, and you screw the pooch when it goes south a little bit, and you sell. Now you lost money and I gained money. I wasn't wrong. You didn't do it right. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works. And because you didn't know, because you weren't sure, because you're trusting someone else saying it to you, and trust and believe, you shouldn't just trust what other people say to you. You have to know yourself. That's why I learned the quote unquote hard way instead of the harder way, which is, oh yeah, my parents say to do this, my parents say to do that, my teacher tells me to do this, my teacher tells me to do that. It never worked for me, ever in my life, and and I'm glad I didn't. I didn't just take people's word for it, especially people that aren't amazing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is, but at this point, I know what I know, and conceptually, I understood that, okay, um, we live in the Garden of Eden. Life is meant to be enjoyable. The point of life is joy, is it not? Is to enjoy life. The point of life is to be happy, right? If you have the opportunity to be happy, you should be grateful for that opportunity and be happy to enjoy life. That's not a result of what you have. That's not a result of where you are or who you are. That's a decision that you make yourself. Whatever whatever, what's it called, requirements or conditions that you put on it is your own. You're the one that puts that there. You're the only person in the way of your own happiness. This is something that I guess I figured out conceptually by smoking weed. I smoked weed. I'm like, okay, so I feel amazing right now. That only cost me $20. That got me interested in brain chemistry, right? Then I realized, oh, you can do certain things to affect your brain chemistry, and that tends to be how that gives you the feeling of euphoria. That's where all feelings come from. It's an internal thing. That's where all feelings come from. That's where all everything comes from. So when you're depressed, it's brain chemistry. When you're sad, it's brain chemistry. So you can literally hack that. You can create it yourself. So that being said, that means that everybody's capable of that, which means that if everybody's happy, there's no reason for there to be conflict. There's no reason for there to be conflict, and there's no reason for there for people to do it to each other, pain. And if everybody knew that, then the world would be a very different place. But people don't know that, and that's the problem. People believe lies; they're lied to. They don't know that they control their own happiness. They're like, "Oh, you did this; that made me unhappy." Not only did you make me unhappy in the moment, but now that's why I can never be happy again. My fucking foot's broken. I don't have shit. I'm I'm not 18. I'm not 20. I've had my heart broken. And fuck the heartbreak part. Fuck the heartbroken part. I've had people do me wrong. I've been stolen from. I've been cheated on. I've been lied to. All that good shit. I've been abused, mistreated. I'm chilling. I don't give a damn. And when I was going through it, I didn't give a damn. At some point, the knowledge became too great. The confidence became too great. And even though the world would still do the same tricks on me that it used to do when I was a kid, it wouldn't work anymore. So when people tried to make me feel self-conscious about shit, people tried to bully me, people tried to misdirect me, didn't work. And the reason I say it didn't work is not because, oh, I didn't go through shit. It's not that. Because you could, I've lost jobs. Um, I've gotten into arguments with people. But at the end of the day, my default mode of being isn't reacting to those things, isn't constantly reacting to those things. My default mode of being, if left to my own devices, is pure bliss. Meaning without anyone else interacting with me, without having to do anything, I will default to feeling completely blissed out, joyful, ruminating on positive things, the most beautiful things in my life that I've ever experienced. Why? Because I know that that is a very, very powerful and important thing. Probably the most important thing that anyone can do in their life, and that's Bible. If there's anything positive or beautiful in your life to think about that thing. That is Bible. And that's what I've been doing for years now. For like 3+ years. Once I had one of the biggest breakthroughs of my life, I would, as frequently as possible, think about the most positive things that I could think about. Think about my future, think about people, think about memories, all types of things like that. And smile. Not only because it feels good, but because God wants me to. What's up with you? Yeah, and I feel for people that on the outside looking in, looking at my life, they don't know what the fuck is going on. Quite literally. I am a crazy person. Because during that period, right? During that period of time, again, not saying that things haven't gone up and down. I'm just saying that it was a constant thing because I knew how much it meant, how important it was. And the more that I did those things, the more obvious it became, and then the more obvious it was who was working against me. And again, that happened when I was like 24 years old. And guess what? That was the big there's me at 16 realizing, oh, I could be happy without anything. I could literally be homeless. I could be meditating under a tree, and I could be in my mind traveling the world doing whatever I want. And it's something that you can get better at. Your imagination, you can imagine things if you do it more. So these motherfuckers are out here, socializing, worried about being clicked up and being cool to people. Meanwhile, the people they're cool to are not cool. They're lame as hell. You know what I'm saying? So while you would jump off a bridge if they did, they don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about themselves. And they're not cool. They're lame. My gratefulness is unending. I could cry, and I do when I think about it. There was a moment when I realized that the whole I could be happy under a tree. Then there was the realization that, oh, you know, just magic is real. Literally, magic is real. So, you can call it quantum mechanics, you can call it whatever. But the fact that energy can't be created or destroyed, and the speed of light and all this other crap is bullshit. On its face, being a Christian, you just know that that's stupid. And then on top of that, even when you look into science itself, they talk about the Big Bang. You're telling me that everything came out of nothing. That doesn't follow your rules. So that's bullshit. And then there's scientific proof of positive thinking and meditation just being healthy for you in every single way, shape, and form. There's no downside to it. Then on top of that, and then, whew, boy, the thing is that you can so easily tie yourself up with bullshit. It's incredible how many pitfalls there are for you to like legitimately screw up your life and make your life so much harder. I guess at some point, there's always the escape route, the escape hatch for everyone, which is like just like surrender, give away all your possessions, and like go to India and meditate and figure it out that way. That's how it's supposed to start. That's how it starts. And then it's like, okay, well, this is boring because it's not necessarily that it's boring, but it's like you upgrade, you go to the next level of I'm going to take what I learned into society. I'm going to go into society and into my relationships and everything, and I'm going to use this same self mastery to change the world that I walk around in on a regular basis. And make everybody else happier with me as much as possible. And then you do that, and there's once you do that, then it's like, okay, I need to make money or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But once you've gotten the first part, you've already won. Once you've gotten the part, you're already wealthy, you're already rich, you already have everything you're ever going to need ever. Once you realize that your happiness is yours for the taking anytime you want, literally anytime you want, you can be blissed out of your mind. You can literally feel like you're on heroin anytime you want. You have that capability inside of you. So you're not going to be addicted to drugs. You're not going to be addicted to movies, games, anything like that, because you know that you can create that yourself. You can create that feeling yourself. Doing those things aren't going to have any hold over you. Maybe you still do them, but you're not going to have the same attachment to them. And that happened that long ago. And I think that's really the most important thing. I feel like everything else is a result of that. Once you make that decision, now you're not going to be, nobody can like force you to do shit. Nobody can make you do anything, because they can't get in between you and your happiness. They can't stop you. Even if they would have to go to extreme lengths, like literally lock you up or like beat you up. And they will. Motherfuckers will do that because it gets really frustrating when they can't control you. So because you have the knowledge, that you can be happy whenever you want, and you do it, right? When other motherfuckers try to manipulate you, they can call you a narcissist. They can say that you don't care about them and all this other shit. And at the end of the day, it's like, well, how do I prove to you that I care? By being upset? That's how I prove to you that I don't care about myself. That's how I prove to you that I don't care about you. Is by doing that to myself. I can't help somebody else if I'm not good. I can't help you if I don't help myself. So oh, you don't love me, you don't care about me. Why? Because when you cry, I don't cry. No, two people cry. Two wrongs don't make a right. That doesn't make any sense. So, boom. Now whenever everything that you do is because you want to do it, not because you have to do it to be happy or because you have to do it to please someone else or any shit like that. You're merely doing it because you want to. And don't get me wrong, people forget, and you're not always on your square like that. Things aren't constantly the same. Things change. So you have good moments, you have bad moments. Relative, for you, relative, you have your own little area where you fluctuate in frequency or whatever. But the actual understanding and knowing of that concept is really a treasure in and of itself. Then I truly believe that once you have that, what's going to happen is it's going to manifest itself in different ways in your life. Meaning, you're going to be like, oh, I can have this and it doesn't cost me anything. So I can. This is fucking crazy. Basically, it's like, this is mine already. That's what it feels like. Oh man. Oh. Oh. Yeah. It's like it's yours already, basically. It's very difficult to explain the steps, but once I realized that, then I got to the point of, basically, I guess they're called mirror neurons. We can call it that. Mirror neurons. Basically, happiness is contagious, similar to negativity. It's contagious. So that gives you even more incentive, more reason to be happy, more reason to feel good, is because not only do you feel good, but you make other people feel good. You're doing it not only for your own sake, but for other people's sake at that point. And check this out. Other people might not want you to be happy because they're haters or whatever like that. All you need to, that's when you can be selfish. You can be selfish. You're like, nah, I'm going to be happy for myself. Right? Then other times when you love people and they love you, you're like, I'm going to be happy for them as well. So now you're happy for yourself and happy for them. You have more incentive. And guess what? When you do that, you're more likable. So people are going to make your life easier because they like you. So because they like you, you're going to get opportunities, and people are going to show you where the free shit's at. People are going to show you you can get into places for free. You could feel good for free. You could do anything you want for free. But that's because you already had it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to give you anything, really. It's because you already have it. You're already happy, right? You know how they say the rich get richer. So because someone's already rich, guess what? They can get anything they want for free. They can get anything they want on credit. They can get anything. You know what I'm saying? Because people know who they are. Because whatever. Because they're so cool. Because they're glowing with a crazy vibration or whatever. People are just floored by their presence. So they get all types of shit for free. Same situation. You're happy. You're happy-go-lucky. You're unfazed by you're sturdy, you're solid. Things go wrong and you don't get flustered. Why? Because every moment that you take the time to be upset or to not feel well or down that's when that changes the shape of your genetics, the shape of your brain. It builds that tendency even further. So it's just wasted time. And guess what? Even if, and yeah, it's wasted time. And it's not, it's also in preparation. You could even call it in preparation for the afterlife, because there's reason to believe that, energy cannot be created or destroyed, right? Anyway, there's reason to believe that the way that you are in life is the way you're going to be in your afterlife. So this is like the training grounds, right? Or even before your life, this is like when you came into your life, this is the way you were, and now you're here. So there's no reason not to improve at all. You can constantly improve, whether it's because you're going to die or it's because you're going to live. Either way. It's the only thing to do. It's the only thing that makes any sense to do. Oh man. And that's why intelligence is so important, because if you're dumb, you can get tricked. And it's harder to learn / remember / know who you are and what you're capable of. Because I say things like, dumb people don't lie. Or smart people don't lie. Smart people don't do bad things. Like I say that people that are in positions of power that do evil shit, they're stupid. And the reason they're stupid is because there's no reason to do that. When you actually understand the way the universe works, there is no reason to do those things. It's not going to make you richer. It's not going to make you... That's what people want you to believe. They want you to believe that to become rich, you have to sell your soul. That's what the enemy wants you to believe. You have to be evil. You have to do bad things. And that's how you become successful and rich. That's not the case. It's actually like literally the opposite. Mostly. But it's low vibrational shit. Unless unless there's a way to do it, unless there's a proper way to do it. Like doing it, not feeling bad about it, and not causing harm. That's, an interesting way of looking at it. But I'm not there yet. I don't feel good about lying. I don't feel good about whatever. Some people don't feel good about having money or getting paid. So maybe it's my own issue. But I'm a Christian. I'm taught not to do that, and I'm under the impression that just makes sense to me. Yeah, and then people be knowing shit, and then they don't tell people, and they also suck, because guess what? In my life, that's some of the most painful thing that I've ever experienced is that I'm I got to a certain age before a lot of the stuff that I learned not from the people I love, and that hurts because it's like whether if you didn't know, that's one thing. If you did know, you suck for not sharing. I find it hard to believe, at least I have in the past, that grown ass adults, because I'm a certain age, so people like my elders, it's like I expect them to know certain things. Maybe they don't, but there's an anger about the fact that that they didn't teach me. Just put it like that. But at this point I'm starting to believe maybe they don't. That's scary. Anyway, so you basically when you have it, you can have it. Once you have that wealth within you of happiness, you're already wealthy. You're already rich. You already have everything you need to know, and it's something that you practice. The more that you can basically raise your frequency, be happy, feel good, and with less requirements, literally just a switch in your brain that you're happy and that you feel good. Why? Because you have somehow learned yourself well enough, familiarized yourself well enough with your own intricacies. You've tuned your instrument, you sharpened your sword, however you want to look at it, um, to the point where you're sure of yourself and good at it, and you can only get better at it, with time and practice. The better you get at that, like I said, you'll make other people happy through osmosis because it's literally contagious. And then they're gonna treat you better because they're happier, and they're gonna see more opportunities. You'll see more opportunities, and there you go. It becomes all types of positive, all types of everywhere. Yeah, you just wouldn't care about certain things. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that's like then I mean, if you want something, it's like it's hard, like again, it's like wanting something. It's like it's yours already. Basically, you have an unlimited resource. You have an unlimited untapped resource, and everyone has it. You could develop your ability to access it, and you will see manifestations in your real life. You will see opportunities and all types of shit. It's very hard to describe. It's easier to just do, at least for me. You follow your gut, you follow your instincts, you do what feels right to you in every moment. You seek, and that that primarily you go directly to the source for your happiness, which is within you. You learn about it's basically like cutting out the middlemen in everything, because that's what a lot of people are. You know, you have you have middlemen that are middlemen to middlemen to middlemen. That's how the world works. You you buy a product from somebody, right? You buy a product from somebody, what do you want with that product? What is the reason you want that product? You want that product so you can feel better. Right? Because it's going to make your life easier. So, this is fucking crazy. So, that product is between you and happiness. That's middleman number one. Then you have like a fucking you have the person selling the product. Then you have the person like making the product. Then you have the person making the stuff that makes the stuff that makes the stuff that makes the product. And then you have yeah. You get the point. You have the person that makes the product, products that, you have the people that make the products that make the product. And then you have the person that's selling the product. And then you have, advertisers. And then you personally. So now you have to spend money to get the product. And what do you have to do? You have to get money somehow. So you're going to, because you're unhappy and you're trying to fix that unhappiness that you have to work to get the money to make you happy. Point is, there's a whole rigmarole of bullshit and hoops you have to run through to get there, when you could just go straight to the source, whether that you want to call it God, universe, whatever, yourself. And guess what? Economics 101, supply and demand. If there's an infinite, this is beautiful. If there's literally, and I do mean literally, like pretty much literally, I mean quite literally, an infinite supply of products and zero demand, at least from your end, right? Because obviously there's a demand, and the demand stems literally from people not knowing that they could be happy without it, which is a lie. From ignorance, basically. The demand comes from ignorance. That drives the price up. But you don't have any demand. So the price for everything is nothing. If you are haggling with someone, you have literally all the leverage, and that's what a lot of interactions in life, that's what it is. It's a negotiation. Every kind of interaction, wherever things are going to be traded, any type of value is going to be traded. So because there's an infinite amount of supply of everything, it's actually more like, and just zero demand. Things aren't just free. It's almost like people want you to have things. It's almost like they will pay you to have things. They want you to consume something. That's the point that it would get to, right? Does that not make sense? That makes logical, mathematical sense, no? So yeah. That's basically what's going on. In the last 48 hours, week or so. Not even, really more than that. I want to say let's just say a few weeks to a month. You just keep searching, you keep searching, and then you find, wait, where am I at? Then you find, again, directly from the source. You find the source, you go up the ladder, and you find the source. So now I'm at the point where I basically I got to a manic state from information that I'm gathering where I see like, oh, literally I could make money I could make money doing I could make money with zero money an infinite amount of ways. And I'm not going to stop, you know. I guess in the past like I said, like when I started this, I'm craving a cigarette like never before, at least I was. And that's a tendency. In the past, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this thing to kind of bring myself down back to my set point temperature, um, of frequency, right? Self sabotage. But this is the type of shit that you don't forget. This is one of those situations. This is a breakthrough moment for me. I have a webinar I'm going to be going to in about half a quarter, like a quarter two, basically, until I go to this thing. And I'm gonna go to it. I'm still gonna do everything that I've been doing. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I've gotten to this point in the first place. You know what I'm saying? I think in the past, I think what I would kind of do is, it's like I would realize this conceptually, right? And I would be like, okay, well, I don't want to do that. You know, I think I prefer to do I'd rather just smoke and drink. And let me tell you something. I definitely, I feel so good to the point where I, like, like I could see it, but I don't have it yet. That's the problem. That's my issue. I don't actually have it yet for me to, and also I kind of challenged myself to do something. And also the age and the time in my life that I'm at, I don't really want to stop my momentum. I need to be able to go a little bit further, but I do indeed. What is today? Today's Thursday. Of course it is. I 110% feel like drinking, like turning all the way the fuck up. That's 100% what I feel like. But I'm just not going to, because that's like, I don't even know how to explain it. That's not the best thing. That's not the best way I could feel. I've felt that a billion times. I know what that's like. It's great, but that's not the period to my like, oh, it's like the period to the sentence is like, okay, so all what I just said, now guess what happens? I drink, I smoke, and then I get hungover. I feel like shit. I wake up and I still have shit to do. My life isn't changed. I just know that conceptually that I can get there, and it's going to be easy. And it's becoming just so ridiculously easy that it's crazy, but I'm still not living in that reality yet, so I'm not going to sabotage myself. It's like, oh, I can have whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want it. And then basically saying I don't want it. Nah, that's not going to happen. Not this time. I've literally been doing this for less than 2 months. It's ridiculous. It's literally ridiculous. And I'm I'm doing my best to, I've documented mad far back at this point. I've documented shit, but I'm documenting this shit. I'm doing it and documenting it. It's gonna change somebody's life. Somebody's gonna realize what they need to do as a result of what I realized and what I'm doing. Point blank. Like I said, I like I spoke about before, I'm gonna get the master key. I'm going to figure this shit the fuck out, and it's gonna be replicable. It's gonna be, I can teach it. So it's like, not only do I find the key to life, the master key of life to myself, I can make copies of the shit. Type beat. And it's going to be something that is always improving. And I think how it works usually is, I can kind of understand why, but like how it is usually is that it's kind of like that game that they play to choose who's at bat first in baseball. People put their hand. It's like a bidding war. People put their hands over each other until they get to the top, right? But I believe that, and I'm using the top part as like the plateau, the reverting back to old ways. Like, okay, so now that I've made all this progress in my life and I figured out all of these things, I can drink and smoke and do these things. I know for a fact that I'm not going to do that until a certain point. But I have a reason, I have a hunch, I have a feeling that I'm going to feel determined enough to just continue to do it. Just because. Literally, what I'm gonna do now is I'm knocking on the door in terms of like knowledge, because that's what is making the difference. And I'm going to, and it's not just one thing. That's the thing. It's like, it's not like I'm not just getting lucky. I'm not just getting lucky. I'm onto something here. So it hasn't completely manifested. I feel amazing. I feel great. I've made it a habit to be in a routine at this point, and to refrain from doing certain things. And now, I've arrived to another, we'll call it a checkpoint, another breakthrough moment. And with all of the knowledge that I'm gaining, I know for a fact that my life is going to completely change for the better in what feels like no time. So I have to be careful not to self-sabotage. And that's the first thing to like. It's like there's already the imposter syndrome thing to worry about. There's already your own tendencies to worry about. Another like manifestation of self-sabotage would be to basically doing drugs. Being like, okay, I'm going to smoke that cigarette now, or I'm going to drink now. If all this occurred in 6 weeks, what can happen in how many more weeks do I have? A fucking shit ton. I'm trying to think about how many more weeks there are. Oh my god. Five times 4 is 20 plus 2. 22 weeks. Oh my god. So yeah. My plan hasn't super changed, and it doesn't have to. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not trying to cut corners. I'm not trying to skip any steps. My I know that my goal is possible, and I know that way overshooting my goal is possible. And I'm not going to settle. I'm just going to do more and more and more of the positive things. Instead of settling. And what does that mean? It means not doing. Most importantly, it means not doing. It's what you don't. What I'm not doing. Which is how this whole fucking thing started. I'm not doing these things. Why? Because I feel like it's going to lead to me. It's going to lead to me getting a certain result. That result seems like pie. Actually, it seems like I could do that like retroactively, like times 3. Meaning I could make it to where that goal is achieved starting in January times 3 and then into infinity, like scaling up. That's what it fucking looks like. And of course, I want to find the easiest, simplest way of doing it. But obviously, just being successful is probably the most important thing, other than it being the most efficient way. Because like I said, there's infinite opportunities. You can't take advantage of every opportunity. But the more I stay on this path, the easier, like the better and better and better opportunities I'm going to come across, the easier and easier and easier it's going to be. And the more and more and more I'm going to overshoot my goal. So, it starts with, getting a little security job. Why? Because it's simple and easy and I could do it. It's money in. Boom. Then, investing, getting access to funds, investing those funds in certain things. Then I'm seeing things I could do now in multiple different ways, but the way that normally it works for me in my life, or it has worked, is just following steps. Do not skip steps. it's kind of like your mind is before life. So even though I realize like, okay, I can do these things. Like there's certain opportunities that I don't want to do anymore so much. I'm still going to do them when I have time. I'm not going to waste time doing not productive things, but there's certain things that aren't that exciting to me anymore. It happens all the time. It happens when when you achieve a goal, right? Like, oh, I want to live in California, and you achieve that goal and you're there. Um, it's not, you don't want it anymore. You can't desire it anymore because you already have it. So you desire something else to improve it. So your desires, your wants, your plans are always going to be ahead of you. And at some point, like right now, I at some point my plan was to kind of clean my act up, right? And then my plan was to start to do a routine. Then my plan, and then my plan was to to like do my taxes or whatever. And then my plan was to receive my taxes or whatever. So I'm already like my to-do list already has items that are crossed off that I've already done. So I'm on the track that I've already paid for myself, already decided I'm gonna do. But I have to do these steps, similar to how it evolved in my mind. Of okay, I have to do these things, and then as I learned about those things, I'm thinking about next steps and next steps and next steps. And it's like, well, some of this I could probably do now, but I also could do the things that I already plan on doing first and learn. And while I'm learning about those other things, like while I'm doing those other things first, learn more and more and more and more about those other things so that the path gets clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer to the point where I know exactly what I'm going to do before I do it. So like right now, I know that I can get a certain type of job and not have to worry about uh, actually fucking working or not having spare time at the job. I know that I can do that. I knew that before, and I know that. So I know what I'm gonna do. I know what I have to. I know the steps that I have to take to do that. You know. And then when it comes to like fixing my credit, I know exactly what I have to do. I know what steps, and it's literally like once I get to the place where I can actually do it, it will get done right away. So then once I get to that point, I have plans. I have ways and plans of doing um, that at that point. So I have to cross that bridge once I get there, one step at a time. And that's where we're at. And if I stop planning, then I'm gonna plateau at some point. But that's not what we're doing. I'm going to continue to use the time that I have to build on, what I'm already building on, and continue to do it like that. Let's talk about reading certain books. Let's talk about taking certain classes. Let's talk about practicing certain things. Those things are getting done right now. And as much as I am anxious and excited to do the things that I'm planning on doing, I still have learning to do. I still have to beat certain things into my head so that I have the confidence to do it when the time comes. But I'm hella excited, and I'm gonna say I can't wait, but I'm gonna have to. My foot feels great. I'm healing up. I got like six. What said 6 more weeks? Yeah, I have like 6 more weeks until I'm like completely healed, and I have 22 more weeks until my birthday. And that was the plan. And I'm telling you, before, like way before that, I'm gonna already be where I want to be. I'm gonna be better than I thought I was gonna be before then. But, um, wanting something can get in the way of your happiness. Expectations can lead to disappointment. So that's not what we're doing. The only thing I'm required to do is not do certain things. That's what this foundation is built. That's what everything is built on. That's the foundation everything is built on. And my goal is still my goal. So as much as I'm like confident I will reach it and probably surpass it, That's still the goal.